everyone. Ty Metalhead Weatherman here. Hopefully you guys have had a good start to your week. So if you by some chance saw my post earlier, I mentioned this 15% area that's popped up over here for Thursday. This day we've been talking about a bit in particular. It's not expected to be a red letter day. It was looking a little bit more pronounced a few days ago, but of course since then we have gotten a little bit greater detail. So uncertainty is a little bit less, and this is not expected to be a big event. So we're going to go over Wednesday all the way through Saturday, mainly talking more so about Wednesday and Thursday more so than anything else. So make sure you're hitting that like button, hitting that subscribe button, and here we go. We get into it. So to start out with, we have our categorical outlook for Wednesday from pretty much Omaha areas to the north there, even as close as Council Bluffs, Iowa, Bellevue, Nebraska, St. Joseph, Missouri, etc. We have this marginal risk area for severe weather. The main threat with this is most likely going to be hail and damaging winds. As far as the kinematics with this setup, the basic parts of this is mainly going to be persisting around an upper level trough with an adjacent mid-level jet or an attendant mid-level jet. That's going to allot for a chance for severe weather here. There's a couple of inhibiting factors with Wednesday's setup, and the main one is that there's going to be a capping inversion in play here, and this is going to really keep things limited here, along with moderate, low to moderate cape here. We wouldn't expect to really go above 1500 joules per kilogram here. Still sufficient enough for severe weather, but with a cap in place, you can somewhat scrub a little bit of that off as well. So it makes things a little bit more difficult for those storms to really start to grow and thrive into monstrous supercells. Then we get into Thursday, and we have our day 4 15% or our slight risk outlook, if you will. It's an area a little bit further off to the south, slightly downstream. We still have Lincoln in play here, and then we have a lot of central Kansas. We have Topeka, we have Bellevue, Salina, Manhattan, Kansas in play. So we're going to be keeping an eye out on this area. Slightly more concerned about this area, but not too much. It's pretty much going to be the same setup here. It's going to be that same upper level trough and that same attendant mid-level jet that goes with that. Kinematics are a little bit better on this day, so I wouldn't rule out a tornado threat. At most, I probably would expect a 2% right now. Again, the issue is going to be instability. Instability is a little less certain for this day, and this is going to be a big factor in the kind of storm mode that we'll see. You can even kind of read the synopsis here as well. It's even going to be existing across parts of Friday and Saturday here. It's going to be pretty much the same system, just heading downstream at this point. But in particular, the areas, the models that we're going to be focusing on in particular is going to be the Euro here. GFS isn't really showing great solutions for this, which also kind of leads to a little bit of uncertainty with this. And of course, we aren't in range of any convective models yet, so probably going to be doing another video soon to revisit this. But speaking of Euro, let's go ahead and get into it. We're going to look at that upper level trough here. So we're looking all the way at 250 millibars. This website's a little different, by the way. This is College of DuPage. It's a great website for looking at weather models. A little bit different details than what you would get on Pivotal Weather. For example, Pivotal Weather doesn't have a map that shows the winds at 250 millibars, which is what you would look at actually for the fall and spring equinoxes here. So useful website here for sure. Not saying that I don't like Pivotal Weather, I love it, but this site is also pretty useful in its own right. So to any weather enthusiast here, definitely would encourage you to use College of DuPage. But that being said here, this is a look at that upper level trough beginning to come in here, and you can start to see it come into play here by 15Z. Euro actually has this kind of hanging back a little bit further than what I was expecting. And the timing of this might be a little bit odd, but by 21Z, I think that's when the chance of severe weather will start to go up here. At the upper levels of the atmosphere, we have almost a little bit of a jet streak trying to develop. We don't quite get up to 100 knots plus, but we're very close. timing would have been key for this in regards to maybe this becoming a little bit more of a robust threat here. But you can definitely see the point of the air split of these two parts of jet stream splitting and where they would somewhat converge here. This will be the point of interest here. I'm trying to get this right here because I'm new to using this website on videos, so bear with me here. But this will be our point of interest right up in here. I think maybe we could see this even trend a little further south, possibly. We'll see how things play out with that, but I'm interested in this particular spot here between 21 and OOZ. But in any case, though, that's what the euro is looking like for Thursday. When we go into Friday and Saturday here, not sure why this isn't working, but once we get into Friday here, threat shifts more towards the Ohio Valley. The trough kind of starts to fall apart here at the upper levels. And then maybe Saturday we could look at a potential squall line developing here, possibly towards the afternoon, evening hours, towards the mid-Atlantic. And then before we know it, this storm system is out of here. Get a similar look from the GFS as far as the upper level trough, and that's really the only similarity that I can kind of find with this. Anywhere else, GFS is not really as hot on moisture returns or anything else in regards to the severe weather potential with this. Taking a look at the upper level trough coming in here, starts to tilt a little bit here, and timing is actually looking like it's going to be a little bit earlier than what the euro is, and that could also further limit severe weather potential. One thing to remember is when we're in the fall, we're starting to lose daylight. So what do you lose with daylight? Daytime heating. Daytime heating is a big instigator to instability or CAPE here. So I wouldn't expect to see as many high CAPE values with our severe weather threats as we previously would during the late spring and into summer. But as time goes on here, we see the pretty similar setup here, and then we'll watch this trough head out of here, and then just down the line here we start to see a little bit of a tell of what our storm track could be. I see a lot of this in the trends right here, which is a indicator of positive PNA. We kind of talked about that a little bit more in detail or in-depthly in another video. Our look ahead here, the link to that will be in the top right hand corner, by the way. So now that we've looked at that, let's go ahead and look at NAM here. This is one of my this is another one of my favorites to look at in the medium range, starting to get closer to the short range. It only goes up to about 84 hours, but we're within the time frame now, so we can actually take a little bit of a look at this. That being said, let's go ahead and move this forward here. Still looking at the same level of the atmosphere. It's the upper levels of the atmosphere, and you can kind of see a similar look, slightly stronger here. We start to see a little bit of a jet streak begin to come in here, but again, timing is going to be key. I still have my questions and uncertainties with this as well. But if this scenario comes out as or if this scenario ends up winning out here, I think the severe threat does increase a little bit. The lower level winds are going to be a big factor in what kind of modes we would see with this. I'm still thinking damaging winds and hail are going to be the main threats, especially the hail threat at this point. So we'll continue to move this forward here, and this is pretty much as far as we can go with it. But I do see the potential for the Ohio Valley maybe having a severe weather threat on Friday, damaging winds probably being the main threat, and then Saturday still a question mark for the mid-Atlantic. We'll get more details on that pretty soon though. So now we've looked at the upper levels, looked at the mid levels here. This will be a great tell of what's ahead here. We're looking at 500 millibars. This is the GFS, by the way. We see that mid-level jet here coming into play. This is towards early Thursday afternoon here. So like I said, the upper to mid-level kinematics look pretty good, but again, timing is going to be the key here. We look at this sounding here, and actually this doesn't look awful. It does look a little bit elevated here, but some marginal tornado threat. Like I said, a big inhibitor is going to be the amount of inhibition in the air, or cap, that we have going on here. And then you can also see here lack of instability as well. The surface cape at 886, that's not incredibly high. Usually I kind of look more for 1,000 with severe weather setups. We're not seeing too much of that. Downdraft cape, or downdraft potential, is actually very high at this point, not surprising. Humidities are kind of leaning into it as well. But in regards to the kinematic setup, we're actually looking pretty solid here. But inhibition is really going to probably rob these storms here. But that being said, let's keep the ball rolling here. We get into Friday. We see that troughs. We still see the trough and the jet, and this jet still apparent here, but not quite as stout. And then again, like I said, Saturday really looks questionable, but it's possible we could see a couple of severe storms. I think marginal risk right now would probably be the best threat to really get the best risk assessment to give this one. And then if we go to the euro, pretty much a similar deal here. We'll go ahead and jump this all the way to where we were previously. Euro looks a little bit better. We'll take a little sounding from a similar area here. I think we're a little bit far behind on the timing, or maybe we're a little too far south. But it's pretty much a similar deal here, actually, as far as the inhibition is concerned. Really strong cap looks like it's in place here for as far as the euro is concerned. So let's go ahead and go back a ways here. Like I said, kinematics still look like they're pretty solid at multiple levels of the atmosphere, but a negative 218. So basically the higher the integer here, the stronger the cap, and we're at a pretty strong cap at negative 218. So that being said, low lift index, which means it would be harder to get that cap out of the way, would lead to some serious problems with storm development here. So as far as the storm setup on Thursday is going, we still have a lot of model discrepancy here, so we may see this downgraded, maybe upgraded back to slight risk. It's still kind of up in the air at this point. Another model to look at, of course, NAM. It's pretty much a similar deal. So here it is at 18Z. Go ahead and try and take a look at this here. I do think that this will occur a little bit later in the day with this setup here, but the cap is ridiculous even with the NAM here. So it's leading me to have a lot of uncertainty with this setup here. So I'm going to try to push a little further to the north here by 03Z, give this the best chance that we can. And like I said, the cap is looking pretty strong here. There's decent lapse rates with this. I'm mainly thinking we could be seeing something linear. But again, like I said, cape is not really impressive. The instability is just not really there. At least not within the regions that I've clicked so far. I'm going to try to look a little further off to the north here. Let's go by 21Z, see what happens. Like I said, pretty much wherever I go, I see a really strong cap and limited instability across the board. We'll take another look at that a little bit later, but as far as the setup is looking right now, there's a lot of questions that I still have with it here. So moisture return was another uncertainty that we had with this, with both the setups on Wednesday and Thursday. Here is the most optimal spot for the moisture return here, and it just seems like it's out of position here a little bit. The richest moisture is actually going to be out ahead of these storms, but which is also leading to a lot of doubt here. You want those dew points to be more so in the 60s as indicated on the SKU-T here. Again, same thing, convective inhibition looks like it's going to be a big problem. So setup, while not super impressive, there's still a chance,
But like I said, I wouldn't expect any robust severe weather. And the same can really be said for Thursday at this point. Go ahead and click on this sounding here. And like I said, inhibition, big problem. Lack of instability is another problem. Just kind of leading me to have a little less faith in that. Of course, the SBC doesn't make updates every hour, which is understandable. I mean, these guys have to rest at some point too. So that being said, there's I would expect an update soon, and maybe there might be a reassessment of that 15% area. We'll see what happens with it. There's still a possibility though. When we go to the euro, it's pretty much a similar deal. The euro is supposed to give this the best chance from what I was reading from the synopsises earlier. And we do see better moisture returns on both Wednesday and Thursday, but at this point, I still don't expect to see too much of anything spectacular here at this point. Like when we look at the moisture returns, there's a pronounced dry line here, which would give these storms a better chance of getting going here, because that'll help with the lift here. Only problem is, again, instability, and the moisture returns themselves are still questionable. We only have one model that's really giving these a decent shot, so it's kind of hard to put your faith into that here, or just say that, or just go on a whim and say, okay, this is going to cause storms to fire. Just everything has to be this, at least some decent level of parameter here. But anyway, here's a great example of what I'm talking about with the instability. Very limited. This is looking at Wednesday night. Not much to work with here. The NAM's usually a better model, usually a little bit hotter when it comes to instability, and even then we're just not really getting anywhere here. We're looking at a mixed layer of 982, surface cape of about 856. Like I said before, 1,000 usually is a good starting point for severe weather. You can get it at 500 to 700, but it's, with a strong cap like that, it's not really going to do you any favors if you're looking for it. And then as far as Thursday is concerned, it's not really giving a lot of instability either. And the same pretty much can be said across the board, even for the euro at this point. So this is me giving it an optimal chance here. We're gonna go ahead and look at where we have the most unstable area right here. This is around 1227. This is around 1227 joules per kilogram here. And again, pretty much a similar deal. The cap is really strong, very low instability. We do get a decent torr sounding here, but it's nothing incredible. And like I said, moisture returns kind of sketchy. It starts to get a little better as we get later into the evening, but again, that inhibition is really going to be a big hampering point as far as the severe storms are concerned. So we'll just have to see how this plays out, but as of right now, I'm not even sure if they'll keep the 15% area up. I don't expect to see too much in the way of tornadoes, maybe more so damaging winds and hail, and even then I think that might be spotty at best. So I guess last but not least, we'll go ahead and take a look at what the radar could look like at this point. It's been a longer video than I was expecting, and I apologize for that, but just nerding out on weather here, which is what the channel's for anyway. Also want to make note of the snow that's going to be on the backside of this with all the cold air that's going to be surging in behind this. But that cold air is not really going to help create a strong enough frontal boundary to really help get these storms going. Like the sharp contrast between warm and cold just isn't really there. There's not much warm air advection out ahead of this at all. But once we get towards Thursday evening here, like I said, NAM doesn't really show a lot of storm development here, which is definitely kind of working against the 15% area we saw there. And if we go to the euro, we're pretty much this is really gonna be the best shot here. I wouldn't be surprised that if I looked at the GFS that we wouldn't see anything at all. So here we are looking at early Wednesday here. Front moves a little faster than what the NAM was displaying here. Get a few A few multicellular clusters flying around here. And then here we go, looking at Thursday. A little bit more pronounced look here, maybe a bit of a squall line trying to develop. And then by Friday, that's out of here. And then we see the front moving off towards the Ohio Valley. We'll go ahead and take a look at GFS and see what it brings us. This usually takes a second to load here. Actually, it's loading pretty quick for once. But across the board here, like I said, here is Wednesday. See a few showers, a couple thunderstorms here and there. Some snow some mountain snow especially starting to wrap in on the backside of this for the Rockies here. So first little taste of fall heading into winter. But not a whole lot to really go off of here. There's something there, but it's not a super impressive look on there. By the time we get into Thursday evening, and then by the time we get towards Friday, small little cluster of cells. Gives us a better look for Friday, but across the board here, it's not looking impressive. Then as we get into Saturday, storms lose a lot of the whatever intensity they were going to have, but this is pretty much just a scenario that we were already kind of looking at for just Wednesday and Thursday here at this point. So overall, this setup isn't super impressive at the moment, but as we all know, weather can change very quickly, so we'll be keeping an eye on it here in this channel. But in any case, for now, we can breathe a little bit easier. That being said, stay tuned. It's second severe season, so don't let your guard down. That being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you drop a like, hit that subscribe button, hit that share button, and if you have questions and comments, let me know. It's been Metalhead Weatherman. I hope you guys have a good night, and I'll see you guys in the next one.